For the Pledge of Allegiance.
Place your right hand over your heart.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
A quorum is present.
It's a public comment session. Any persons wishing to address the City Council on any item on today's agenda, excluding the public hearing, may do so at this time. Now, as it relates to HE1 and HE2, the public can comment on those now as well. When we get to those, the only input that will be provided are people with material evidence or testimony related to whether or not we uphold the decision of the committee. So to make that clear, you can talk about HE1 and HE2 now. Any public comment?
Good afternoon, council members. I'm still Diane Sombrano, and well, I'm not going to do the PH1 because, well, that'll take place later. But I would ask you to pull item number 4 because that was brought to you because of the other no longer interim superintendent of school districts. And I would think that the new guy should have an opportunity to have some input, because if you go through with this and he goes through with it, they have those pesky little union issues over there that she didn't bother to think about. So rather than go through that absolutely embarrassing thing of retracting what you already did, like you often do, you might want to avoid that. With regard, that was the Inglewood Unified School District issue. With regard to one, I think the public should know that we're going to go back and put this at 111 Locust. After spending all that money on the DR3 architectural. But I guess that's because someone somewhere told MTA that we're planning a hotel there at D3. You know, the site that we told the seniors was going to be the senior center? So are the seniors going to live in hotels now? I don't know. Just confusing to me how we have one message in this location, another message in another location. But that's how it works, isn't it? With regard to the outsourcing, I'm going to once again say that maybe that not be the best thing you do. When we have our employees, they can generate us income. This is one of the few generating income departments we have, and you're thinking of outsourcing it. But hey, D3 always amuses me because here we're going to drop $20,000 so that we can tell our neighbors it might be nice to do what you used to do just because you were a neighbor, bend down and pick up the litter. I guess we all need t-shirts to do that now because we can't do it without the t-shirts. You see, when I was a kid, that's what you did because it's your neighborhood and you love it. I don't know, just I guess times change, huh? We can't teach kids to do that, which is right because, well, it's such a tough thing to do to keep your community looking nice. And those t-shirts and those trash bags must cost a fortune to get up to $20,000. Because I would think that the Boy Scouts, when they're doing it, want to be identified as Boy Scouts. Campfire Girls want to be identified as Campfire Girls. The people who are organizations probably have their own badge of good doers, and maybe we should let them get the praise. That would also serve that alternative purpose of encouraging membership in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and all those other things that we claim we support. But, oh, look, I'm out of time. I guess I'll have to come back.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. First, briefly on payment of the bills. Now, here again, we have $1.1 billion in outstanding debt, okay? And to the two new members, please get in touch with the Finance Department so you will understand briefly what the successor agency is and get on board. Now, recently we had a member of this council saying that we balanced the budget. Over the last 3 years, Mayor Butts balanced the budget. Now, Mayor Butts, don't let them put that jacket on you, please. The budget has never been balanced. And that council person knows better. In fact, when his comments, let him define what a balanced budget is. There's no municipality in the United States of America has a balanced budget, including Congress. You run deficits, and we have a structural deficit. So stop playing with the people in semantics. Now, on outsourcing, here again, if your balance is so budgeted, if your budget is so balanced, why have you laid off people that reside in the city of Inglewood? Why have you taken a 10% cut? That's not balanced. What that is, that's your expenditures have exceeded your revenue. And another thing, municipalities are not a for-profit business. And you keep using these crazy terms, it's a business. It's not, it's people trusting you with their money and their taxpayers to provide service. So it's mind-boggling how this city has even existed this long with that kind of mindset. And residents, hear me, you need new leadership. This is not gonna work, and it's not anybody up here wanting you to fail. It's not about that. I want you to succeed, but you have to have leadership. And as far as the senior center, stop playing jokes on the people. What you gonna use for money? Now you got $40 million worth of litigation pending the senior center now. You got over 2% of the general fund going toward litigation. So why don't you be truthful and have a success agency meeting, put the cards on the table, residents, here we are, what are our options? And please, Mr. Butts, don't let them put that jacket on you.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews.
They know better.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Kevin Monk, SEIU. I'm the representative for the workers here in Inglewood. We, are opposed to any outsourcing. We believe that outsourcing tears apart and tears down the fiber of the city. Our workers have invested years, some 26 years, 25 years, just years of service to the city. And to outsource jobs without having an opportunity to put forth other information that might bring revenues, without sitting down with the unions, we are opposed to it. We believe, Mr. Fields, that to outsource to SEOs is no better than bringing in a Walmart. To outsource our workers and to have them reapply for their jobs at a lower wage and no health care, it's just like bringing in a Walmart. As you know, we fought that tooth and nail. So just wanted to say that, without creating any hostilities, that right now, for the record, SEIU stands in opposition of the outsourcing of the SEOs.
Thank you, Mr. Monk.
Hello, Mayor, Councilman. My name is LaFrancis Arnold. I've lived at 3312 West 80th Street for over 28 years. And I'd just like to tell you what a fine job you're doing trying to keep this city going. It looks good. It's being developed. As we look at what's happening with the development of the Hollywood Park area, I know that we're going to be looking for jobs, those same jobs that you assured us when you were running, and we want to continue that effort. But I want to speak as well to this outsourcing, and hoping that you will take a good look at it before you decide to accept that. The gentleman that just followed, I would echo that we want to work with unions, we want to keep jobs in Inglewood, we want to keep people in their homes, keep people on their jobs, and we'd like for you to reconsider that. I know you're a honest man. I know you're just. I know this council will take a look at this and do what's best for our community. As we look at that development that's going on, we want that same type of opportunities for a job in the community, and I pledge to work very diligently with the city and the leadership and not to be a problem. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council member. This is regarding Resolution 1 on economic and development. This is an ongoing situation on my business. This is the third time we are here on this. I'm just here today for the new City Council member to give them what I have, because I gave it to the other City Council members that are not here, so that they can also have it, and everything that I have to say is on it.
You usually hand it to the Sergeant of Arms.
Okay. So just want to give it to City Council member George, Dawson, and Alex, so that they can see. I'm just asking for approval for this situation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and staff. My name is Aldine Sly, and I'm from the 1st District. I'd like to speak on DR2. The children of Inglewood should not have to go out and pick up trash. We should have a YMCA. We should have some kind of facility for our children to go to, some educational type of facility, since our schools have failed them. I think that their time could be better used being educated, not putting on a jersey, going out and picking up trash. I don't know whose idea this was, but it was a horrible idea. If we would do our jobs as adults and as council and as government, put down laws for people who trash up our city. Make laws and make fines, fine people who do those kind of things. Not have our children go out and pick up trash. That seems like it's just a straight arrow from being children into the penal system. That's what prisoners do. At least they get a stipend. The prisoners get a stipend. And I figure if you cut your huge salaries, maybe by 5–10%, if you're going to have our children do that, you can pay them a stipend. Everybody needs money, not for free. I don't agree with this DR2 at all. So let's put our thinking caps on and find other ways to advance our children in this world, not by picking up trash. Please. It was a stupid idea. Thank you.
Ethel Austin, I want to speak on the RFP of the traffic. I was reading, first of all, the company you want to outsource the traffic to is not listed. No one even knows the company name. It's not here. It's not on the sheet. Also, if you add 8 and 4, you get 1.2. That's 12. You want to give the company, the first $2 million, which I don't think is kind of smart. Also, you want to get rid of the revenue that we have, and the only reason why it's looking low is I came and I spoke to you all. I sit there for a few hours, and I mentioned to the council, why are they reversing all those tickets? I mean, you were like giving 12 to 15,000 per day. So naturally, the parking and traffic is gonna look like it's not bringing in the revenue, just like you got code enforcers out here approving illegal functions, illegal clubs, illegal liquor license that one of the council members I got right here, that I'm gonna blow the whistle on real soon. It must be stopped. You all are just taking money, the MTA, we got screwed with Metro. We should be out of debt. We got screwed with the satellite, because who got their palms greased to run against Mayor Butts when it's time up? Who's selling us out down the city to run against James Butts? Sitting the main one grinning and skinning. That's the way the devil operates. Also, I want to mention this tobacco license on this company. You want to take tobacco license from someone at a Jen's liquor store, been there 100 years. We know already the problems they've been having, Mayor. This is why your police department is real good. This is why your code enforcers supposed to be assigned to. Why we paying all these taxes? I mean, I think you should put the people out and stop using the director of the code enforcers to go and pass stuff so he could make your man want to run against you pretty soon, look good, to shine over the city. That's Dotson District. But, oh, we gonna get this done before the election is over. Oh, I got everything I need on you. It's just the time of me falling. Not only that, I want to say that one thing, I was at a lot of the swearing in this weekend with a whole lot of attorneys. And I find out, you know what everybody was saying at City Hall? Man, why is it the people taking all of this cutback, you want to get rid of everything, but yet you hiring all these relatives? Friends and relatives is the only people working here. Downstairs, you got this girl right back, but yet these people are taking furloughs and hours cut. Why?
My name is Willie A.G. I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. And I stand here to support consent calendar number 4. We got problems in our schools, and we need to do something to help these kids out. I don't see anything wrong with a kid picking up a piece of paper. I pick up paper at my house. If I had kids, they'd be picking them up too. I don't think it's gonna hurt kids to get out there and help keep their surroundings clean. I think that's the problem we got now. Our kids are too good to do anything. That's why they grow up to be criminals. You know, give them some work to do. Let them get some work ethics. You won't have that problem. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing, guys? I get a single ticket cigarette on last October, and I get another citation for selling rose flower glass, and you guys denied my license. And now I have items in my...
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
That's the hearing, it's not up yet?
Yeah.
You're here for one of the hearings, is that right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's E1.
We're not there yet. You can't talk about that right now.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Aren't you the appellant?
Yeah.
Okay, that's when you speak, when your hearing comes up.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Good afternoon, James Johnson, SEIU, Local 721. Here to respond to an item that we found out, I found out yesterday afternoon would be on the council agenda, and that's obviously the issue related to outsourcing the services for parking enforcement and meter operations here in the city. I'm more than a bit puzzled on a number of fronts. One, the obvious rush so soon after folks were sworn in here for new terms. The contract in itself, $2 million directly to the vendor, and if the staff report is anything like the actual RFP, will be It'll be obviously tailor-made for one particular company, and most of us know who those folks will be. We frankly think that folks that got skin in the game, I'm going to find it. Our folks are going to find it. We're going to connect the dots. If we are unable and unsuccessful to get this defeated, or at least to get this postponed, so many of the folks that are impacted by what you'll decide today, because I find it puzzling that you have the option, because obviously the city manager and the mayor set the agenda for council meetings, so I just find it a little surprising that this would take place at 2 o'clock when you have 3 or 4 options for meetings at 6 o'clock. So we know what's up. The reality is that I made a tactical error, it appears, that some things that we could have done, we didn't do. Reality is, when all is said and done, we're going to connect the dots. We're going to make sure that the people of this city know what's going on as it relates to this contract. Frankly, in our estimation, as a precursor to other tragedies to come. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Stuart Bailey, and I'm going to play devil's advocate. Outsourcing. There are people that have jobs that are parking enforcement over 20, 25 years, maybe even some 30. But as we all know, the game is played as we don't like the income that you're making because it hurts the city. That's too much money. We have difficulty with paying bills in the city, so we have to cut anywhere, and we don't care where. Like I said, I'm playing devil's advocate. It's just the way I am. It basically comes down to a personal thing where we don't like you, we're just going to get rid of you. You know, if you have a family, you can always find another city to go work in. It's just a little job. And here's something else that I'm going to touch on. Kids picking up garbage in their own community, it's a good idea because we're not educating them in Inglewood. And so, you know, they need to stop doing the video games. They need to stop being in front of TVs. They need to go out and get an education. We don't know where, but I mean, if you think that the idea of having a child go out and pick up garbage is an educational thing because they'll be seeing what their community is about and what their neighborhoods look like, and maybe they can join the gangs that'll be out there waiting for them because they are prime real estate for those type of things because they're out picking up trash, and they can go out and sell drugs for these guys. So like I said, I'm playing devil's advocate. Have a good day, and please, let's have some interesting more ideas.
Close public comment, item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register, allow for payment of the bills.
Move allow payment of the bills.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. HE1.
Is next scheduled matter is, oh wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, excuse me. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a hearing to consider the appeal for the Permits and License Committee denial of a tobacco retailer license renewal for Haiti Ali DBA KH&A Tobacco Shop to operate as a tobacco retailer at 8605 Crenshaw Boulevard.
Has the notice of this hearing been given in the time, form, and manner as required by law, and has the applicant been notified pursuant to Inglewood Municipal Code 8-73 subsection 8-37 subsection 3?
Notice has been given, and the applicant has been notified pursuant to the IMC, of which a copy was included in the agenda packet.
Have any communications been received?
No communications have been received.
Is there a staff report?
Yes, Mr. Decatur will give the staff report. Mr. Decatur is the senior management analyst in our department and also chairs the Permits and Licenses Committee.
Mr. Decatur, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. My name is Shakima Decatur.
You're not.
My
on now. My name is Yakima Decatur, and I am the Senior Administrative Analyst in the City Manager's Office. I also serve as a chairperson for the Permits and Licenses Committee. The matter before you this afternoon is an appeal of the Permits and License Committee's denial to renew the tobacco retailer license of Haider Ali doing business as KH&A Tobacco Shop located at 8605 Crenshaw Boulevard. The P&L Committee considered this request on May 2nd, 2013. It should be noted that no representative from KH&A was present at the hearing to provide any input on the matter, and based on the testimony of the police, the P&L Committee voted to deny KH&A's tobacco retailer's license. I will present Police Chief Fronterata is present, who will explain the details and findings that led to the actions taken by the Permits and Licenses Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Cater. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council, staff, and members of the public. Specifically, as this issue relates to KH&A store, this was based on a sale violation of a single sale of cigarettes, of which the business was cited, and during a court hearing, they were convicted on the sales of single sale cigarettes. We've also received a number of complaints of sales to minors at this location previously. It's been a location, I know we've had some gang members hanging out into the parking lot and things of that nature. So it's been a location that we've had to respond to many times.
Thank you. If we have questions later, we'll take them after we hear the appellant. Thank you, Chief. That concludes the staff report. Is the appellant present?
Yes, I am.
It's your time, sir.
You know the single, he said the single cigarette and minor. I get the single cigarette ticket on at this 8 a.m. So I'm selling single. Since October we didn't sell any single, we no singles, and he came next time. He gave us the ticket for selling Love Rose glass pipe. So he denied the, and I received the letter from you guys denying my license, and that's my life. That's what I do to live, and to take care of my life. So now I don't have anything to do. The store is closed. So I don't know what I have to do. So I didn't sell the single cigarette since October. No more single cigarette, no more pipe, no, we don't have anything now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the judgment, they didn't decide yet what's going to happen to my ticket. And even no ticket, I didn't find anything on the record, at the record of the city hall and court. Not even police department, they don't have anything at record.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, and the other reason, they said because this castle, I didn't point it when I renew my applications. I didn't point that, I get the citation. Because I don't know, because my English is not good, that's why I didn't do it. So I didn't mean anything to be, I mean, like, I have somebody to, Abbas, I have somebody to speak English, you know, English.
That's fine.
Yeah. ايوه بس داير اقول لهم انه انا ما كنت عارف يعني انه انا اخذت اللايسنس لما جددت هنا عشان الانجليزي ما
He said he didn't understand the meaning between citation and ticket when he applied to renew his license. That's why he said he didn't get anything.
بس انا عايز اللايسنس حقي بس يرجعوا لي اللايسنس وخلاص يعني لو عندهم اي شروط ممكن انا التزم بهم.
Okay, all I'm asking to get my license back, and if you guys have any, like restriction, I could obey it.
لانه ده حياتي يعني انا بدفع
So this is
إيجارات.
my life, I pay my rent, I pay my life with it.
Okay. All right, we'll close the comment. What I think we should do is leave this time for any questions the council might have in addition to what the chief and the appellant provided, and then continue the matter for 1 week so that the council can deliberate on the information they've received, and we can vote on whether or not to uphold the denial next week.
You want to continue?
Well, what I'm saying is allow the council to ask their questions now, go and review the notes between now and next week, and then come back with a decision next week. So, Councilman Franklin?
And Mayor, first of all, let me acknowledge that's an excellent idea. So that way we have a chance, we've heard from the applicants as well as from our staff, and then also the documents they have before us. I think it's critical to identify that the application that was signed on November the 2nd by the applicant, that the violation occurred just a few days before that, which was October 30th of 2012, and the application is November 2nd of 2012. And then even after that, we had the drug paraphernalia issue that occurred on April 10, 2013. On the application, he was asked a question: has your business violated any of the City of Inglewood regulations concerning the sale of tobacco and tobacco-related products within the previous 6 years? And this was 2 days before he turned in this application. So I have concerns that the tobacco packages are to be sold as a package, not as individuals. And as you've acknowledged that I should not have done that, and you haven't done that since you were issued the citation, and you call it a ticket, but the application doesn't relate to either one. It says, have you violated anything pertaining to tobacco or tobacco-related matters? So those are the items that we have to weigh into consideration, whether or not the matter of it being found guilty, not guilty. The proof that we have here is that the application submitted to us from the City of Inglewood shows that the time that you turned in your application, this violation had already occurred, and then subsequently, another violation occurred, which is a different related matter, but it's still tobacco-related. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Morales?
Going one step further, you know, do you have a response for that? Does he have a response for that?
هو بقول لك انت عندك
Yeah.
الاثنين دول وضعوك لهم ودوك المخالفتين، واحدة قبلها ما قال لك سايتيشن ولا كده، قال لك ان انت هل القانون حق التباكو ده عملت اي حاجة غلط فيه؟
لا لا لا.
في سؤالين عندك أي
والله
حاجة؟
انا لما جلدت الابلكيشن انا اصلا ولا فكرت انه هي لازم اعمل هنا يعني ما فهمت الابلكيشن اصلا.
When I renew it, I saw it as guest regular renew. I didn't look at it, and I didn't know the meaning of it. That's my mistakes.
The issue that stems from is a common law with sale of tobacco, and that's what makes it very difficult for us to be in a position to overcome the fact that it seems to be a routine in the course of business. The bottom line is, and when we get the information, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be speaking to the chief, as well as not only that, but the kind of the selling to the minors issue, and those are things that we have to take into consideration when we tend to, if there's going to be an opportunity to overcome the planning commission. But for now, I think you'll do yourself a big favor if you can basically dissect, you know, how your business is run in terms of tobacco, what steps you've already taken so that this never happens again.
انت الحاجات اللي بتبيعها دي كلها بتبيع للناس الصغار
ما بين الصور.
اوكي، وانت حاجة عادية كون يكون عندك السجاير تبيعه بالحبة. المفروض تكون عارف الرد ليك ليه وشنو تتكلم.
انا اول شيء اصلا ما بعت السجاير. هو في التيكت كاتب انه ماينر وجاني الساعه 7 صباحا. Nobody was there. He was waiting.
For minor, I don't sell any cigarette for minor, and the ticket, it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, that when he came, he was waiting before we opened. And then for the single, I stopped selling single, and I will pay all the regulation for the license.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Padilla?
Thank you, Mayor. For me, I want to check with the police department. I'd like to look at more clarification from the chief as to the nature of radio calls that have been made to your establishment and how many have been made there, so that I can get an idea as to the resources that we're expending at your business.
عايز يتكلم مدير البوليس يشوف كم مرة اتصلوا على الدكان بتاعه وكم مرة جهنا.
أنا اللي قاعد أتصل، أنا اللي كل مرة لما الأطفال.
Okay, there are no more further questions. Thank you very much, sir. We're going to continue this hearing until, I don't think he does. He's gonna, yeah, but you have to do it within the confines of the hearing. Chief, could you come forward for a moment? You know, everything that we do has to be based on the information put forward in this hearing. Do you know, or is there available any radio call history for this establishment?
There is, but I don't have that number in front of me right now, but we could obtain that.
Okay. Perhaps you could present it next week before we have the final adjudication.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we'll close the hearing.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes? Oh, go ahead.
I just have the one question. I'm concerned when you did go to the public hearing, if you were unfamiliar with the English language, why didn't you take someone with you who could speak the English language and you would understand what's going on?
To the P&L hearing?
Yes.
He wasn't there.
He didn't show up.
He wasn't present.
Well, then that is not very good.
that's المرة الرابعة أنا أجي هنا.
This is my first time to come to the city hall.
I understand.
The host hearing, it's E1, it's E2, next week, it's, you know.
Whenever I come, they told me come next week.
Yeah, since May.
Okay. Mr. Cater, was the appellant notified, was he notified that there would be a hearing?
Yes, for both P&L and for the appeal,
And how did we accomplish that?
certified mail.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Saunders? Okay. Okay, I'm just going to notify the council that we're not going to be able to consider the radio call history because everything that's considered at the time of judgment has to occur within the confines of this hearing, and we're at the 55th day right now.
That is, unless the chief can get that tonight.
That's okay. I think we'll be able to make the adjudication without it.
That's fine.
Thank you very much. We'll close the hearing and continue the matter until July 23rd. Thank you, sir.
ممكن أفتح عادي ولا هيكون مقفول الدكان يعني؟
Should I open my store or
I don't think you're able to until we make an adjudication. So you'll have to come back next week. You'll receive the adjudication.
لأنه بقول لهم أنا قاعد أدفع رنت من شهر 5.
Because I'm paying the rent since May. The citation.
I understand, sir, but it's going to be held over a
I have a lot of
week.
stuff on my refrigerator, on ice cream, and chips, and everything is expiring.
You know, unless I'm mistaken, your close means close.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a hearing to consider an appeal to the Permits and License Committee denial of the tobacco retailer license renewal for Sue Hugh Lee, DBA Gin Liquor to operate as tobacco retailer at 11001 Crenshaw Boulevard.
Has the notice hearing been given in the time, form, and manner as required by law, and has the applicant been notified pursuant to Inglewood Municipal Code 8-37 subsection 3?
Notice has been given, and applicant has been notified pursuant to the IMC, of which a copy is included in the agenda packet.
Have any communications been received?
No communications have been received.
Mr. City Manager, is there a staff report on the matter?
Yes, Mr. Yakima Decatur, Senior Management Analyst, will give the staff report.
Mayor,
Thank you.
council members, the second item this afternoon is an appeal of the permits and licenses denial to renew the tobacco retailer license of Sue Hui Lee, doing business as Jim's Liquor, located at 11001 Crenshaw Boulevard. The Permits and License Committee considered this request on May 2nd, 2013. It should also be noted that at the time of the permits and licenses hearing, that no representative from Jim's Liquor was present, and based on the testimony of the police, the Permits and Licenses Committee voted to deny Jim's Liquor's tobacco retailer's license. And for more specifics, I would introduce.
Okay. Chief, you're welcome. Could the gentleman, the appellant from the prior matter, come in for a moment? Jim with the mic, sir. You can open up your store to sell everything but cigarettes. Tobacco, I'm sorry, tobacco.
A smoke shop, tobacco shop.
Well, there you go. There you go. If you got ice cream, you're good to go. All right, I just want to let you know. All right, thank you, sir.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right. Chief?
Yes. Good afternoon, council, staff, and members of the public. This is concerning Gin's Liquor at 11001 South Crenshaw Boulevard. In addition to a history of issues that we've had at this location, many of which are gang-related in orientation, we did have a citation, two citations actually, or violations for the sales of tobacco without maintaining proper invoices and tobacco from unauthorized persons. And also there was misinformation that was put on the application after the citation was received, or at least acknowledgement of that citation. And it'll be our recommendation to deny this permit application.
Thank you. Is the appellant present? Okay. Or legal counsel for the appellant?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Jennifer Carr. I represent Sue Lee, doing business as Gin's Liquor, here in the city of Inglewood at 11001 Crenshaw Boulevard. Just a brief recitation of facts might be helpful to council. The respondent has been licensed here in the city of Inglewood as a tobacco retailer for several years now, and on May 1st, 2012, the Board of Equalization issued a citation to the respondent contending that there was a violation of Business and Professions Code sections 22974 and 22974.3 subsection A, dealing with retaining of purchase invoice receipts. Then on April 9th, 2013, both of these criminal counts, the Business and Professions Code violations, were dismissed in furtherance of justice. However, in a letter dated May 15th, 2013, the Inglewood Permits and Licenses Committee stated that on May 2nd, 2013, it denied respondent's tobacco retailer's license because the issued citation on May 1st, 2012, and respondent did not disclose the citation in its 2013 tobacco retailer's license renewal. These were the only reasons given for the denial of respondent's tobacco retailer's license. As the chief has stated, apparently there may be other reasons, but we have not been provided notice of any of these reasons, and under Inglewood Municipal Code, Section 8-47.1, the respondent must be given written notification of the grounds of the complaint. So I'm not prepared to discuss any of these other allegations that the chief talks about today, but I can discuss the grounds that we were notified upon. I'd like to state that, as I said, these alleged violations, and that's exactly what they were a complaint, that is what a citation is, was dismissed, and thus there has been no violation under the Inglewood Municipal Code, nor has there been a violation of state or federal law. Additionally, respondent did not disclose this citation, this only citation, on her renewal request because the renewal request does not state, did you receive a citation? In fact, it states, did a violation occur under the Inglewood Municipal Code or under state law? In fact, no violation had occurred. I'd also like to make note, just for record purposes, that on June 24th, 2013, counsel for respondent, myself, filed a supplemental appeal in opposition to the committee's denial in response to respondent's first request for appeal on May 17th, 2013. On that date, we also filed a request for discovery and a claim for damages against the city of Inglewood. The request for discovery has not been responded to, and I have subsequently sent another letter on July 3rd, again requesting discovery in this matter, to no avail. Furthermore, we're outside the scope of the 55 days as required under Section 8-37 of the Inglewood Municipal Code, since respondent's request for the appeal was May 17, 2013, and this hearing was originally set for June 25th, then continued to July 9th, and now continued until today. In sum, the committee is without authority to deny the respondent's tobacco retailer's license for the reasons that I've said. There was absolutely no violation. This was a citation. It is what it is under the penal code. It's a complaint or an offense charged, and there was no material falsification on the application. She did not violate any state or Inglewood Municipal Code law. And with that, respondent would request that this city council please overturn the committee's denial. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm prepared for any questions.
I know. I could tell. Any questions, Council?
Comment, if I may.
Councilman Franklin.
Yes, I do want to emphasize that despite of what the courts may have ruled, that the count 1 and 2 for misdemeanors was dismissed, as you identified in furtherance of justice, it still doesn't negate the fact that on the application submitted on October 4th, 2012, that a citation was issued on May 1st by the Board of Equalization, along with our police officers in attendance at that establishment. It also requires that when a applicant applies for the tobacco license, they're obligated by law to maintain their records of receipt of those tobacco sales up to 1 year. Upon the arrival of the Board of Equalization and the law enforcement, there was no receipts present for the tobacco items in question. In addition to that, the tobacco items in question had been discovered that they did not have the the stamp of the California seal on them to authorize them to be sold in the state. So with the violation, or the citation, as we'll call it, that the tobacco application for the city of Inglewood does reference that the applicant has a legal obligation up to 6 years to disclose to us as to whether or not any violation is concerned regarding the sale of tobacco and tobacco-related products. So clearly, there was a violation in the process as of May 1st of 2012 when she submitted her application on October 2012. I'm sorry, when she submitted her application on October 4, 2012, that was a violation. It wasn't a finding by the courts until October 2013 that the matter was dismissed. But at the time the application was submitted, there was in fact a violation or a citation that was on the record. And I just want to make sure that was noted on the record. And you also cited, since I read your packet, that you were using other arguments of the Inglewood Municipal Code, noting that there could be a process of penalties should this be the first offense, second offense, et cetera, within
Correct.
a 5-year period, and I'm aware of that. But the thrust of the matter is, before this body, and we represent the city and the enforcement of the Inglewood Municipal Code, I clearly feel that the item is probably before us to take appropriate action when this body so deems. So what we have the evidence brought before us, where is the record, and that no additional stuff, despite there may be other things pending, the item before us here is simply about tobacco. And so we're addressing that issue on tobacco based on this violation or citation that was issued on May 1st, 2012 by the Board of Equalization and the presence of our police officers. And on that note, I'm through with my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So let me understand, your position is that the BOE citation number 01523 was dismissed, and therefore, because of that, there was no need for you to disclose that at the time of application, because at that time it had not been adjudicated?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'm basically arguing the language of what a citation is. A citation is not a violation. Under the Penal Code, a citation is defined as an offense charged or a complaint. A violation occurs once that offense charged or complaint has been deemed by any body, a court of competent jurisdiction, city council, wherever you may be within which agency, to have found a violation. A complaint itself is not a violation. It is just a citation itself is not a violation, it is just a charge. And therefore, based on the renewal request form that was filled out by the respondent in this case, it asks if she has violated any. And at that point in time, no, she had not.
So your position is that if you receive a citation and you fill out an inquiry form and you haven't been to court, then you have no need to disclose because it hasn't been adjudicated. I'm just trying to understand your position.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Okay, with that, unless there are any further questions, then we will continue this to July 23rd as well, and the council will take in the information they received in this hearing, and we will make a decision at that time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I be clear? Can I have one question? I just want to make sure that City Council has in fact received the supplemental appeal in this matter and all documents that were filed.
I'm certain that we have.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
All right. Consent calendar, items 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
So moved.
I'd like to pull 6.
Okay, items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Councilmembers Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla, Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. Item 6.
Yes,
No, hold on.
Staff report recommending approval of agreement with THC Inc. for acoustical design services.
Move items 1 and 2.
Mr. Sparza, there's a question. Mr. Sparza, if you just give us a brief report as to what this is, and there might be a question from District 1 or a comment.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. David Esparza, Assistant City Manager, Chief Financial Officer. I'm here to report on the agreement with THC Incorporated for acoustical design services. This is a contract to complete the design of 62 units within the sound contours in Inglewood, and we have a list of the properties that will be done, and it goes through just the these particular homes have been started but not completed, and so this money is to affect the completion of those particular architectural and engineering design drawings.
Thank you. You have a question or comment, Councilman
I have a
Dodson?
comment. I'm going through your list, and I'd like to thank the new sound and installation department, because a lot of these in the first district, and these people have waited a long time to get the sound installation. So I'm sure the people of First District who's getting this sound installation will be very thankful for it. And I'm also grateful that this is happening right now because
Thank you.
we need it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye.
Thank you.
SPA Thank you, Mr. Esparza. SPH 1.
Staff report requesting that a public hearing be set to consider approving Inglewood Local Development Report in conformance with Los Angeles County Congestion Management Program.
Set the public hearing for August 13th, 2013 at 7 p.m. RES 1.
Is resolution pertaining to the request by Barry Pierce to add 392 square feet to an approximately 2,424 square foot beauty salon on a C2 zone property located at 3333 West Manchester Boulevard.
Continue to July 23rd, 2013. DR1 and CSA 3.
Staff report recommending approval of an agreement with Gwen Pugh Urban Studio to conduct architectural, engineering, and construction management services for a senior center.
Move 1 and 2.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. DR2.
Staff report recommending authorization be given to staff to issue a request for proposal to solicit response for outsourcing services for parking enforcement and meter operations.
Staff report.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the council. In the public, my name is Dean Varick. I am the manager of Parking Enterprise Services Department. Before you is a staff report to look at the to review the release of an RFP for parking enforcement and meter operations. In fiscal year 10-11, council asked staff to review the possibility, to review the operations to look to see how we can reduce expenses and improve revenues. Based on that request, staff made several recommendations to increase the current fines, fees, and penalties for parking citations, to increase the meter rates for our on-street meters both in the downtown and industrial areas, as well as implement convenience fees for internet and IVR transactions for people that pay citations via the internet or the IVR. As part of that, staff looked at the feasibility of outsourcing our parking enforcement meter operations. Based on that report, there was two options that we looked at, a staffing-only component and concessions component. Based on the staffing-only component, we looked at the possibility that operating expenses could be reduced by approximately $425,000 on an annual basis. Revenues could be increased by approximately $800,000 if the operation was outsourced. Another component as part of the evaluation process was to look at a concessions component. Basically, a concessions component is a component that, for an upfront payment, allows the concessionaire to operate the operation of parking enforcement meter operations. Around December 14th of 2011, there was a workshop that was conducted to allow comment from the public, employees, et cetera, regarding the feasibility report. Also on January 24th, the council heard the feasibility report and recommendations that an RFP proposal be released. The RFP was completed and released on June 14th of 2012. On June 19th of 2012, an initiative was put on the agenda by Councilwoman Dunlap. Based on that initiative, the RFP was recalled. On September 25th of 2012, we were asked to bring the item back to the agenda. That item was pulled and no further action was taken. The action represents the contract options for parking enforcement meter operations. It is staff's recommendation to include the following options within the RFP process. A concessions component be added to the RFP. Under the concessions component, the concessionaire pays for all operating expenses for an upfront payment to operate the concession. The outsourced service provider will have greater flexibility of the operation, staffing levels, and operating procedures as part of that operation. The ability to cancel the contract and the concession deal is slightly different than a staffing-only component because you're receiving an upfront payment to operate the operations. If there was early termination of the agreement, if it got to that point, the city would be forced to return a large portion of that payment if that was to occur, if the contract was actually awarded. Revenues and expenses would be controlled up to a certain amount. The concessionaire would receive the first portion of the payment because they were responsible for paying the expense of the operation, staffing costs, workers' compensation, gas, vehicles, et cetera, what is required to manage the operation. That's where the $2 million comes into play. That could be more or less depending on the proposal that's received from the respondents. The fee for service is basically you're paying a particular fee for the service. In other words, based on staffing levels, they would be required to provide X number of staff to provide the service at an hourly rate. Everything else would be included as part of that proposal. Under the RFP, we believe that there should be two terms. If it is a fee-for-service component, that the minimum contract period of time be for 10 years. If it was concessions component, the concessions component, a minimum of a 20-year term. Item 2, as part of the outsourcing model for either concessions or a staffing-only component, we believe that the concessionaire or the person responding should be able to use the existing equipment, including our parking meters, our handheld issuing devices, our meter reading devices, ticket stock, envelope stock, etc. Doesn't make sense that we end up having the possible vendor providing those portions of the, the program. If once additional supplies have to be purchased, then they would be required to purchase those supplies from that point forward. We'd also recommend that included in the RFP, the ability to use our existing radios for the meter crew, meter collection equipment, meter repair equipment, and the existing parking meters. At the same time, including in the RFP, an upgrade for the meters to, improve technology, credit card and debit card capable meters, et cetera. Because of course our meters, as we all are getting older at the same time. That would also allow the city to be able to own the equipment should the concessions or staffing option not be available any longer. Outsourcing service provider would be authorized to use the city facilities, employee parking, desks, chairs, phones, etc. If it makes more sense for the vendor to be able to provide it to use those facilities versus renting separate facilities, which would be an additional expense. Same time, we would require that the proposer respond and provide the necessary vehicles to do meter collections, parking enforcement, etc. Additional considerations is that based on the responses, staff and a committee would evaluate those RFPs and submit to administration and council staff's recommendations, both on a concessions component and a staffing only component. That concludes my presentation.
Mayor,
Thank you.
I'd like to comment.
Councilman Franklin.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you very much, Dean, for your report. I do want to elaborate on two issues. One was, it was in January 2011 that the item first came before this council for assessment, and ultimately it was in June that as you indicated, one council member and the council as a whole opted not to pursue this. But I'm still waiting on the other portion of the item which the council gave direction in March 2011 that you were to do come up with alternatives to reorganize the parking service management organization to improve the effectiveness and lower operating costs. And I say that because our special enforcement officers, and I say they're ours because they're my employees as well, that they are assigned to do other things other than enforcing parking violations.
Excuse me, could we stop talking in the audience, please?
Twice a day, they are responsible for the crossing guards at the various school districts, various campuses that is on our public streets. Second of all, that they have been known repeatedly to be the ones that respond for emergency responses for traffic control, whether it be our case that we had at Berkeley Coat Factory, where there was hostage situations involved, where it was an auto accident, or vehicle accident, where they had to redirect traffic in that regard. Finally, the comment that was brought forth if it's the same package that was there in 2011, that the employees would be given an opportunity to apply for employment with the prospective outsourced company with the understanding that they would have to pass their physical agility tests or aptitude, and that several employees have already testified before us that they had been struck by vehicles or by individuals, and more than likely they would not be able to get that. As you've heard earlier, there's no worker retention. It's called about fitness for duty, and likelihood that these are employees that have invested their time and effort for the city is now to their demise. Finally, I want to acknowledge that, again, during the due diligence of effectiveness, that those employees are career city employees, specifically working in the meter and parking enforcement department with little to no bumping rights. So they have been concentrating specifically in this area, and so their likelihood of being able to sustain their employment with the city is detrimental to them. And when I see an employee, I see their families behind them. And so I raised this area of concern about doing the due diligence of the direction the council directed since March 2011, rather than putting this item on the shelf and now bringing it back because there's new members on the council to say that we want to move forward. And so I understand that we need to be prudent and we need to be cost effective. I just think that this item is not properly before us. Thank you, Mayor.
Go ahead. Councilman Franklin.
Thank you.
Councilman Morales.
The issue before us today has been here a few times in the past couple of years. The truth of the matter is that we're going to get a report from management here coming up pretty soon about where we are in terms of our future as a whole, as a city. These are items that we have to take into consider. I'm where I was the last time. There's two major issues for me. One is with the workers, the SEIU members, of course. We are all very considerate of the fact that they've been here for a number of years. And I believe that we can get them on a plan of retention in terms of maybe we can place them somewhere else if this is in fact the direction that the city goes. However, for me, I'm at the point where I'd like to see what an agreement would look like, if it would make sense to the city of Inglewood, and where we go from there. We either start that conversation and end it one way or another, or we can keep talking about it over and over. That's why I'm supportive of the fact of allowing staff to say, hey, go explore, examine, research what other cities are doing, see if it makes sense here. And if it makes sense here, then let's make a decision. If it doesn't make sense here, then let's make that decision and move forward. But we cannot continue to keep talking about our budgets, the fact that we are lacking, certain in many areas in terms of services for the city, and continue to overlook these options. So those are the things that we need to discuss, but the truth is, we've talked about everything that's in front of us already. Now we need more information, and that's what we're doing here today. So with that, as I said, you're talking to a council that's been extremely supportive of the employees throughout. Not only it was mentioned Walmart, hey, a couple of us were here back then too. And all you have to do is look to see where we were standing. So, thank you.
Just a quick comment, the council majority that approved those delaying tactics is not the council majority of today. And the reality is that to put out this RFP is only looking at the city's options, which was all that was ever contemplated. It's interesting that I find a member of the public that got up and said that we don't have a balanced budget. We absolutely have had financially balanced budgets. Cities are not allowed to not have a balanced budget from year to year. Now, when you talk about structural balance, if you ever go off furloughs, then we don't have a structural balance. And the reality is we do one day want to give our employees back their 10%. So I disagree with the notion that this is not a business. It's a nonprofit deliverer of public services, and we have a responsibility to balance ourselves structurally. We have long-term unfunded liabilities in the area of lifetime medical. These are issues that have to be addressed. We have seriously depleted our reserves by the actions of past councils that have put us to this point where we have to financially balance the budget every year with different types of strategies. So, no, we don't have the option not to look at the single highest revenue generator for the city and look at how we're doing operations. We may get ideas from the proposals that are submitted if we decide to retain our own operation that will help us to do a better job. But this whole notion that we must not gain knowledge, we must not gain information from the private sector as to how we might do things better to better serve the public and to financially balance our books, I just don't agree with that. And to make this as an anti-employee thing is ludicrous. The reality is that Inglewood employees have been on furloughs for, I think, 3 or 4 years now. 6 years? Well, I don't know, but I know they were on when I got here, and I think it's absurd to say, no, we're going to say that we're pro-employee, but we don't look at the whole, and we don't look at the city as a whole. So there is nothing that says, when we get these proposals, that one of them will be satisfactory to the point where we will make that balance where we have to not retain our own operation. And I want to make that perfectly clear. But it takes more than just constant delaying. One day you're going to have the knowledge of what you're foregoing. And if we decide to forego that, we need to do it out here in public and say, you know, this could be this kind of a situation for the city, but we choose to forego it. Then we need to have the courage to do it in public instead of saying we never want to see the light of day. So, you sure?
Yeah, I mean,
Councilman Dotson?
Yes, I just feel like in reading the information I have and the information the staff has given me, I just believe that this is something that the city should at least look at. I mean, we don't have to accept it, but if we never look at it, we'll never know what it says. And if we're going to be moving forward and we want a progressive city, then we need to do everything we can to make sure that we do that. And getting information is part of that. So I would like to see that happen.
Thank you. Councilman.
Besides echoing what's already been said up here as it relates to the council's due diligence and.
See if your mic is on.
Is it on?
If your red light is on, that means it's not working.
The red light's on.
There you go.
All right, well, I'll get it right. But going back to what I was saying is that I think we owe it to our city employees also that they know that they don't have to live on pins and needles, that we can go ahead and take a look at this, put it to rest, make a decision on what's best, not only for the city, but also for our employees, and finally give them some resolution. So I'm looking forward to seeing what, if any, reports we get back and reviewing those and making what's the best decision for all those involved. Thank you.
We have a motion?
No, we need one.
Okay, second by Councilmember Dotson. Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dotson? Padilla?
Aye.
Morales?
Aye.
Franklin?
No.
Mayor Buds?
Aye. DR3.
Staff report recommending approval and adoption of Inglewood Community Litter Elimination Action Network, a community volunteer litter removal program.
Move approval. Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson, Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR4.
Staff report updating the municipal separate sanitary storm sewer national pollutant discharge and eliminations permit.
Receive and file. Call to order the City of Inglewood as successor agency.
Quorum is present.
CSA 2.
Minutes held for the meeting, March 12th, 2013.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Agency members Dodson. Abstain, okay. Padilla,
Abstain.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor, Chairman Buds.
Aye. CSA 3 and DR1. Oh, we did that
I think we
already.
did that
We did
already.
that. Adjourn the successor agency, convene the Inglewood Housing Authority.
A quorum is present.
HSPH 1.
Staff report requesting that a public hearing be set to consider the approval of the Inglewood Housing Authority 2012 through 2014 annual plan and 2014-2019 five-year plan.
Set the public hearing for August 20th, 2013 at 2 p.m. Adjourn the Inglewood Housing Authority.
City Council, a quorum is present.
PH 1.
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider approving the draft fiscal year 2013-2012 annual action plan for the final submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Has the notice of this hearing been given in the time, form, and manners required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given and affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received on the matter?
No communications have been received.
Is there a staff report, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, Damian Pipkin will give the staff
Mr.
report.
Pipkins, please come forward.
Is it 2013 or 2020? This is.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members.
Excuse me, Mayor, let me just make one correction, because there's a typo, and I'm looking, it's 2013 to 2014 Annual Action Plan. Thank you.
Very good. Continue on, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. I'm here to present the 2013-2014 Annual Action Plan. This is the second year plan for our 2012-2015 consolidated plan, and we'll have the public hearing after this report. Basically, we conducted community meetings and received feedback, and to this afternoon we'll also receive input from the public as to our recommendations to HUD as to how we use the funds. These funds come from the federal government for the Community Development Block Grant Program, the Home Investment Partnerships Program, and the newly instituted Homeless Emergency Shelter Solutions Grant Program. In March of this year, the Congress did not pass a balanced budget, and that resulted in sequestration. Fortunately for us, the cutbacks did not, they were not as draconian as we thought they might be. We actually held steady for the CDBG program and for the home program. There was a 1% and a 2% cut respectively. The Homeless Emergency Solutions Grant did take a 38% cut, but we'll have carryover funds from this year into next year that will be able to hold that steady for people needing homelessness assistance. Some of the highlights, just to briefly go over our recommendations, are first, there was an increase for senior meals programs, because nationally the programs such as Meals on Wheels did take a significant cut and are projected to receive fewer funds, resulting in fewer meals. So CDBG will be able to assist parks and recreation library services with those programs to eliminate any waiting list that seniors may be experiencing for that type of program. The fair housing held steady, so anyone who is experiencing tenant-landlord dispute can call the Housing Rights Center and receive services. And then the summer camp programs have been funded, which we're thankful for because the way the cuts were originally, we were not sure if we would be able to fund those programs. There's always a big cry for infrastructure improvements, and we're happy to say that the funding is steady to the amount that we were able to provide last year for public works, for streets and sidewalks. And although it can't be used for the big streets, Century and La Brea and those, they can assist these smaller residential streets in the northern, northwest, southwestern, and that little pocket over in District 4, east of Crenshaw, and just below Century Boulevard there. So if you live in those residential areas, we should be able to assist you with your sidewalks and your street improvement needs. Code enforcement, I do want to speak to that quickly because we are going to be partnering with them closer this year because we have our home rehabilitation program, and we want to be able to bridge the gap between violations and home repairs that our low-income seniors may be able to take advantage of that program to make those improvements to their homes. Then that takes me to the home program. We're carrying over most of the funds in this new year for the senior housing rehab program. We will be instituting that this quarter before the end of the year. And we will have a meeting about that program here at City Hall for those who are interested. The next popular program that we assist with home funds is the tenant-based rental assistance program, which assists persons who are seniors, 62 or older, persons who are permanently disabled, and honorably discharged veterans. So if you fit one of those three categories, you may be able to apply for rental assistance, to help you have an affordable housing unit in the city until you can get back on your feet. And then the last program I wanted to speak about was the Homeless Emergency Solutions Grant Program, where we're not getting as much funding. Like I said, it was cut by 38%, but we are carrying over some funds from this year to be able to help those who may be living in a motel and need to be permanently housed. And we're able to give case management services such as helping people with job searches or daycare needs so that they can be permanently housed and remove obstacles to their homeless situation. Thank you for your time, and that's the conclusion of my report.
Thank you. Are there any persons present who wish to address the council on this matter?
Well, council members, I got to tell you, my internet isn't near my printer, so in between the two, the buffering wasn't long enough. So I'm going to only read you one of the quotes. This one is about the home program. This is from the Office of Inspector General, dated December 6, 2012. We reviewed the City of Inglewood's Home Investment Partnership Program and initiated the review because of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Los Angeles Office of Community Planning and Development's expressed concerns about the city's administration of the program funds. Our objective was to determine whether the city complied with home rules and requirements for obligations, commitments, expenditures, program income, monitoring, and reporting. What we recommend, that's in blue. We recommend that the director of HUD's Los Angeles Office of Community Planning and Development recapture, big word there, more than $2.6 million in uncommitted and unexpected home funds. We also recommend that the director require the city to develop better planning processes to commit and expend program income and funds, and to establish and implement sufficient internal control policies and procedures to ensure compliance with program rules and requirements. Otherwise, consider revoking the city's status as a home participating jurisdiction for home funds. What we found, the city did not commit or disperse its home funds in accordance with HUD rules and requirements. This condition occurred because the city council failed to approve the city's policies and procedures and were needed to ensure that it committed and expected home funds before HUD's required deadlines, which resulted in its incurring more than $2.6 million in unused home funds that should have been used to further affordable housing activities. There's a similar thing with different totals for the other two programs. This is from HUD, not from me. It isn't just Diane who finds things are not going well in our city. But go forward! Let's keep on going, because that's what you guys like to do, no matter what those of us who actually live here and will continue to live here and continue to pay the bills point out to you.
Ethel Austin.
Before we go, oh, never mind, we'll take care of that in a minute. Go ahead, Ms. Austin. I'm sorry. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I wanted to, I don't know if this is the right thing. This HUD project is supposed to be the block grant, like homes and stuff like that?
It's a number of things.
Okay. You know, I just want to ask one question. If it's considering like the first time buyers program and stuff like that, I've submitted for years, 3 years, and every time I've submitted to be on this program, it's always said that no one got the form. And I've given it to one person 3 times. I even tried to apply, tried to get this started on one of the homes that you have, you know, and nothing has happened. I mean, I don't know what Sobrano was reading, but is it because of that or what? I don't know. So could you just tell me why no one has reached out to me? You know, I've been here all these years paying taxes here and helping out the city. No one has reached out to me, and I can't understand this. I mean, is it it's who you know or what you know or what?
Probably not.
It's not, man, I don't know what's going on, but I think they should reach down to the little people, you know?
Thank you.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. What's been going on for the last 4 years? The department has been poorly managed. This council knew it very well early on before you got here, Mr. Butts. They knew it, and they did nothing except disbanded the housing organization that was nationally prominent in the city of Inglewood.
You're part of that, right, Mr. Matthew?
Yes, I am,
All right,
sir.
thank you. I just wanted to know.
And I'm glad I am, because you have misused funds. The Inspector General has told you you have misused funds, and you claw back the funds. Now, this gentleman is committed. Now, what's needed is first-time homebuyers program. What is needed is senior citizens emergency funds. What is needed is funding for seniors or those that are eligible for the sound insulation for code violations. And what is needed, has been needed, is rehab programs and for foreclosure. You wouldn't have the amount of foreclosures in this city if you had the will to do it. The banks offered foreclosed property and distressed properties 4 years ago when the housing crisis took place. But what you did, nothing. You took the first-time home buyers program. You haven't had one for the last 3 years. And then you had 4 houses, and I was happy to see how happy the people were. We've already had that program with 100 homes with first-time home buyers now. The idea was to stabilize this community. But you know what this council did? Not you, you were not here. These two were not here. You know what they did? Developers, come on in, we going vertical. Now how in the world you're gonna have home ownership made easy, giving the money to developers for rentals? That's what happened. That's what happened. And the Inspector General hasn't finished. But yet and still, what happened, why it happened, you say, don't go back. Learn from it. That's what happened to the residents in Inglewood. You got played.
My name is Willie A.G., and I would like, with this council staff, to look into this organization for the last 10, 12 years, because I know at least 8 or 10 years ago there was some problem. There was quite a bit of money that was missing, but for somehow it's been swept under the rug. I would like for this council and staff to really research it and see who's responsible for the disappearance of the money.
Which organization are you talking about, Mr. Agee?
That's housing and development. This is a PH1.
Okay. Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members and guests. On my left, this is my granddaughter. Her name is Tiana Sykes. And however, we're here on a good note. 3 weeks ago, we came to the council meeting, and there was a presentation about Mr. Jan Vogel of the South Bay workforce. And at that meeting, that particular evening, I got his business card.
Ms. Savage, I am so not predisposed to stop anybody that wants to talk about something good. I want you to understand that. But right now, we're having a public hearing no, don't be sorry at all. No, but please don't go.
Okay.
But in just a little bit, we'll be at public comment, and then I'll call you back up. I'll start your time again, and we could start all over.
Well, I tell you what, I do have a little comment on the public comment, so I can do this real briefly, okay? All right, okay.
We're working with you.
This is in regarding to the code enforcement and parking enforcement employees. I would like for you to really consider the RDF program to research everything for them, because Inglewood is getting ready to go into a huge project, and code enforcement and parking, they really play a big part of this situation. And secondly, with the with the HUD, the housing and everything, we're in trouble because of the RDA funding, and we can't blame the city for everything, and there are going to be some costs to the taxpayers. I have been here for 43 years, and believe me, I don't want my taxes increased, but I just wanted to, put that on record, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. In just a few minutes, we'll get your other item.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Lynette Lewis. I just want to comment on the public hearing regarding the BG home funds. One of the things, I'm glad that you have added the Hot Shot program into those funds. It's simply because you recognize the fact that we do have more now senior citizens in this area, and I understand that you have expanded the program to Ladera seniors and Hawthorne seniors. So I'm very glad you recognize that we do have a lot more seniors in here, so that you're able, when you get ready to make your raise the taxes and what have you, you will recognize that these are homeowners in here as well, and that and people looking at me like, what is a hot shot program? It's just it's the food delivery unit that provides heating and refrigeration to keep food hot, cold, or frozen. That's all it is, but then they provide special equipment to do that. But I'm very glad to see that you're taking into consideration that we do have seniors that are here, that they are hungry, that they do need help, and they are incapacitated at some points. But to expand that program Because sometimes when people call up to say that they want food and that they are housebound and they can't get out, they're turned down. And so, I'm just very glad that it's extended, and I hope that the funds reach them.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. With that, we'll close public comment. Are there any council comments on the item?
If I may, Mayor?
Councilman Franklin?
Yes, since we are moving forward to finalize our product to go to HUD, there's a couple of clerical errors or clerical adjustments I think is appropriate. So the easiest one is on page 5 of the report that's going to go to HUD that addresses when and where we had the hearings and the hours of the day. I think it's appropriate that, I know you and I were there, Mr. Pipkins, for the District 4 Police Community Center, but it was at 6 o'clock at night and not 11 in the morning. So you need to reverse those times. I believe you meant the 11 a.m. was for the Vincent Park Senior Center on May 22nd, 2013, and not the, okay? The other item I do want to get clarity on page 5 of 6 of your staff report, you highlight that $50,000 is identified to be appropriated for replacement of equipment for code enforcement. See that?
Yes.
And then when you go on page 22 of the report going to HUD, there's different numbers, and then number 7 talks about the $50,000, but you highlight it's to be determined. And I think we now have identified what it's going to be used for, and that needs to be tweaked.
Yes.
Okay? And then the final item, I would recommend that I'm having an increase in the homeless population in District 4. And the issue has come by some of my constituents as to how does the homeless qualify for this shelter that, or vouchers that may be available for the homeless when they do not have residency or proof of residency that they are in fact residing in Inglewood. And so do you have a mechanism in place?
Usually, the homeless person can either get a statement from someone, because most of our homeless are local to the area. You know, they may have a family member, or they can, if they receive some type of services from St. Margaret Center can also vouch on their behalf that they are a person within our city.
But I'm having, let's say I have a resident that says, I know that Ralph, the homeless person, has been staying in front of my house or on this particular city property, that I want to reach out to you on Ralph's behalf to make him eligible to qualify for the voucher that the city offers. Is that appropriate?
They can call our number here at City Hall, 310-412-8844, and notify us of that person, and we can use our resources to address that.
I see we have it here in place. I just want to make sure that it's accessible for those that are really in need, and the residents in the community want to reach out to the homeless person, at least give them an option of being able to have temporary shelter somewhere other than the streets. So if we can do that and make those grammatical corrections, I'd appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you,
we
Mayor.
will review the report.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Pipkin, Mr. Brown just delighted in that HUD audit, delighted. Could you just give us some insight so that, you know, that's just not what, all that we know? How did we respond to it? What was the etymology? Go ahead.
Well, basically, the Office of Inspector General for HUD did visit our city, along with several cities across the nation, due to a systemic problem on the federal level with HUD, where they didn't really track how long it was taking developments to come online in cities, just cities all over the nation. And so our particular project was the senior housing, and it was red flagged because it just was a very long standing issue where we could not figure out the housing portion specifically. And then when we canceled it due to shifting political changes a few years back. We then had to send some funds back to HUD, who then sent them back
Reissued
to
them.
us.
Yes.
That we were able to then use for affordable housing projects here in the city. And so that report basically was generated just from those activities, and not just in our city.
Let me see if I can summarize it better. We had funds available for a project. We had a very divided council, which delayed the implementation of that project. We ran out of time, we sent them back, and they reauthorized us the funds. So we didn't lose anything, did we?
No.
So I just wanted to make that very clear. Thank you, Mr. Pipkin, I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
So I'll move approval, Mayor.
Second it, Mayor.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. A1.
I'm sorry.
A1.
Usually you do CM1 first. Caught me by surprise.
There you go.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. There was a closed session held as to CS1 closed session. Confidential attorney-client privilege pending litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9, Section A, Kendria Watson versus City of Inglewood. Discussions were held, however, no final action was taken. There was a closed session held as to CS2 closed session confidential attorney-client privilege pending litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9 subsection A, City of Inglewood et al. Versus City of Los Angeles and related issues. Discussions were held, however, no final action was taken. There was a closed session held as to CS3 closed session confidential attorney-client privilege potential litigation under Government Code Section 54956.9B1 claim of Buchhalter Niemer. Request a motion to authorize payment of billings.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye.
That concludes the reports out of closed session for this afternoon, and there are no verbal reports, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. CM1.
Yes, Mayor and City Council, I just want to use my time to inform the public that there will be a community meeting next Tuesday on the 23rd from 2 to 4 to discuss a development of a work-live ordinance in our city. And so I want to encourage the public to come out and give their input. We're especially interested in the arts community coming out and giving us their insights in terms of what we could do to allow them to work and live in their spaces that currently exist in the city.
Thank you. CC1.
No comments, thank you, Mayor.
Madam City Treasurer is taking a deserved vacation. Her birthday is on Thursday. We wish her a half day. Appointments to boards and commissions. Councilman George Dodson nominates and I appoint Charles Braggs to the Parking and Traffic Commission.
So moved. I concur.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla, Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. Councilmember George Dodson nominates and I appoint Darius Levy to the Planning Commission.
I
Say that
concur.
again, I didn't.
Darius Levy.
Darius?
Darius, D-A-R-I-U-S,
I
And the
concur.
last name was Levy?
L-E-E-V-Y.
Got it. Thank you.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Butts. And that was,
Council-
that was to the
Councilman-
Planning Commission,
That's
correct?
Planning Commission.
Thank you.
Councilman George Dodson nominates and I appoint Leonard Ross to the Construction Appeals Board.
I concur.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. Councilman George Dodson nominates and I appoint Dr. Jeanette Parrish to the Civil Service Board.
I concur.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Councilman George Dotson nominates and I appoint Aletha Metcalf to the Youth Commission.
I concur.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Councilman George Dotson nominates and I appoint May Wood Brown to the Youth Commission.
I concur.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Councilman George Dotson nominates and I appoint June Minton to the Library Board.
I
What,
concur.
the last name again?
Minton, Minton.
We'll get a list of all these,
You-
right?
yeah,
we
Okay,
can do
good.
all-
I was wondering,
we'll get
okay,
all
thank
this
you. Okay, council members, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Councilman George Dotson nominates and I appoint Cynthia M. Moore to the Housing Advisory Commission.
I concur.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Councilman George Dotson nominates and I appoint Carol Willis to the Citizen Police Oversight Commission.
I concur.
Madam City Clerk?
Council member, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Councilman George Dotson nominates and I appoint Michelle Hicks to the Aviation Commission.
I concur.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Councilman George Dotson nominates and I appoint Claudia, I think it's Claudia, probably, DeLeon.
Claudia
Claudia DeLeon.
DeLeon.
I
to the-
concur.
To the Arts Commission.
Got it.
Madam City Clerk?
Council member, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Councilman George Dotson nominates and I appoint Melvin Robert to the Citizen Police Oversight Commission.
I concur.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Councilman George Dotson nominates and I appoint Halima, Halimah, Ginyard to the Parks and Recreation Commission.
I concur.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Mayor James Butts nominates and I appoint Tricia Crenshaw to the Human Affairs Commission.
I'll move concurrence.
Yeah, okay, I don't want to concur with myself. Madam City Clerk?
I'm sorry, she's to the human what?
To the Human Affairs Commission.
Thank you.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members, Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Public comments. Any persons wishing to address the city council on any matter connected with city
Thank you.
business not elsewhere considered may do so at this time. Okay, I guess we close public comment. No one. Well, all right.
You know, it's amazing how you love to bash those of us who tell the truth, and you like to say that we don't give a rip about this community. I will put my volunteers' hours for this community, singing the praises of this community, against any combination of the two of you. Some of you have not been here. Some of you only take the money out of here. You see, when I am in other settings, I only sing the praises of this community, and you will notice that it's Diane Zambrano who got on the second half of the front page of the California section, the Los Angeles Times, the praises of the city of Inglewood. And you chose to bash, because that's your favorite thing to bully with. Well, guess what? Those of us who come here and point out how we could do better are trying to better our community, not destroy it. And if you think for 3 seconds that it brings you praise to attack, you're crazy. It doesn't work for you. Because you know what? When I get out there, everyone tells me how poorly you treat the people here, particularly women. Now, last week when someone tried to say you should treat women better, one of you accidentally said, I'm hoping you know better, Just because a man is married does not mean he respects women. You see, one thing all battered wives have in common is that they are, in fact, married. So when you go off with these attempts to bash us, it does not fare well for you. It actually makes people like me more. So please keep on doing it, because you know what? Everywhere else, everyone knows that I'm the one who tried to save the school district, but again, they bash me, call me naysayers, call me names, have friends come over and attack me. Those ugly names, the physical threats. Guess what? The letters are out there. Physical damage comes to me, they hold this room accountable.
Please come forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, and to the council members and to guests. My name is Anita Savage, and I live in Inglewood, have been for about 43 years. To my left, this is my granddaughter, Tiana Sykes. My reasoning for being here, our reasoning for being here, we wanted to thank Mr. Jan Vogel of the South Bay workforce. 3 weeks ago, we were here. I was here at a council meeting, and Mr. Vogel was here, and I got information about the program because I was always concerned about the kids in Inglewood not having a place or work venture to go to, and I wasn't aware of the program. So we're here, and we're proudly to say that Tiana has gone through the training, and we also would like to thank Mrs. McElroy, who is the job coordinator. Excellent job. I was able to sit there and see how she demonstrates to the kids of what to wear. You would be surprised of the kids who are not aware of what they should wear and how to articulate and fill out an application for a job interview. Therefore, I was able to witness that, and I just want to say thank you to Mr. Jan Vogel, and Tiana will start work next week.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Savage.
Thank you.
Always good to see the young people come out and do something. I just want to make a couple of comments. One is regarding the homeless program, and I'm glad that that was brought up because I've taken a person up there, and it's very hard to get a voucher when you have been homeless for more than a year or so, and they tell you got to come in with a written receipt, and that's very, very hard to do. But I hope that they have perfected that. The other thing is that on the tobacco retailer's place, I would hope that it's a health hazard, and I think that we should keep in mind that black men and so are more adapted to having lung cancer or what have you, and getting addicted to tobacco than most other people are, and I would hope that we would keep in mind that we really don't need other tobacco shops up in here. And for your information, last week we asked about the 92nd and Van Ness tobacco place that was closed. It is not closed unless they closed it this morning. Okay, it's not closed. It wasn't closed last week. The lady was told to take the sign out of her window, and that they did raid the place. They didn't find anything that was out of order, but they told her just take the sign out of the window and change our hours. It's not closed. The other thing that I wanted to say quickly is that, Mayor Butts, I did take an issue with something you said on last week. Your comments was that the naysayers want you to fail. We do not want you to fail.
I didn't think you were a naysayer.
No, I'm not. But you use that term in terms of we don't want you to fail. That's why we're here. because we have sat here before and watched the other mistakes that was made here by voting for things that they did not read and got us into all this trouble that we're in at this point. We don't want you to fail is simply because when you fail, if you guys fail, we have to pay for it. There is a bond or something that a tax that is put on the thing, taxpayer will have to pay for it. So we don't ever think that we want you to fail. We want you to survive because we want to survive. We're tired of taxes being raised for whatever reason. Right now we got a bond dealing with the senior center. That's a good example. Is that we will have, the bond was floated out there, we're gonna have to pay for that. And whenever something fails, the taxpayers get caught in the butt with it, okay? Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Howard Ely, Second District. You know, I enjoy coming to the City Council meeting because we live in a democratic society, and what I did today, Mr. Mayor, I looked at the word democracy, and to understand what democracy is, and we have a democracy here. And I was told last week that I didn't like Mr. Padilla. I don't know Mr. Padilla. He's my council person, so he's going to represent me, just like President Obama says he's the president of all of us. I don't know the man. He's my district. He represents me, so what the heck. But, you know, in a democracy, we get a chance to disagree. And I think I've disagreed with you 60 to 70% of the time. And when I disagree with you, I don't dislike, I just disagree with you. And so I think it's very important that in a democracy, we get a chance to be heard. As Ms. Lewis says, we want you to succeed. We don't have to agree with you. We don't have to be bobbleheads. And what I said last week about women representation, I mean that. And I'm going to try to get women to run for every seat up there. Why not? That's a democracy. You don't like that? Well, it's okay. But as a citizen and a taxpayer of Inglewood, I get a chance to voice my opinion. Okay? If you don't like it, well, it's just okay. But I'll bet you, as Ms. Lewis said, we will agree more than we will disagree. And when we disagree, hey, let's disagree. You know, have you ever seen two ducks in a pond? They'll come together and they'll fight for a minute, and then they'll float away, and they'll shake their wings and give it all that energy, and it's over. But what we do is we keep playing it over and over in our head, what he said or what she said. The bottom line is we live here together, and we pay taxes together. And as we as citizens get a chance to come up here and tell you when we agree with you and when we don't agree with you. I joined the Harvard Jobs Taxpayers Association. I'm a member. And we're going to do some things to make sure you're representing us to our best interests. And if you disagree, guess what? You just disagree. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ethel Austin, I wanted to bring up something that was puzzling me on this RFP here. I was reading this. It says here that they're gonna take all of our equipment and we paying them so we could be flunkies and clean up what they didn't want to clean up. This is what this saying. Then you say we got 1.2, you looking at 800,000 revenue, but how you looking at that when you steady reversing everybody tickets? That's not true. Also, I was reading here where you saying, let's see, I've done lost that section, but anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. But I'm saying you guys should really look at this again. I really think you should look at our revenue part, because the traffic, as they were stating, as she stated, Hollywood Park is coming. Is coming here, and you use these people. You are using our parking and traffic people for the police department. They're using them for cars. I think you should really look at that. This coming out of Orange County, that's kin to most of the people that's going to be working here. They're not going to be here. They don't care about this city. I think you should really look into that and think about it. And Councilman Dotson won. What you know about Charles Braggs? You don't know Charles Braggs. I know you don't. I've been knowing you over 40 years. I've been knowing him 40 years. I know you never had nothing to do with Charles Braggs, so how he became one of your commissioners? The only person know Braggs is Franklin. I know Franklin know him, and I know him, but nobody else up here knows him. He's nothing. So why would you make him a commissioner over our taxes? That's a no. I think that's you. I mean, you all are sitting up here. I think you all are supposed to be men. You know what I mean? I think you should use your own mind. Don't come in and being a bobblehead. I think you guys should think about all the people in your district and these elections that's coming up and who wants these seats, who wants that mayor seat, who wants, you all should look around, all the people that wants the assembly seat over here. I mean, you all should think about, we are voters. You know, they might be, but Charles Bragg's the worst thing on this earth. I don't think we want to put him.
You shouldn't be attacking Miss.
I know him.
Well, I thought, but you can't attack people, so please
Well,
stop.
you let everybody attack people when you
Please
were
stop,
swearing in. Please give me a break and stop. Please stop making these people do things that they don't want to do. You are forcing these people to do things that they don't want to do. It's a shame.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. I hope you would reconsider these 2 o'clock meetings. You know, this is moving the city backwards. We went through this 10 years ago. Now, if you want a petition of 500 people, would that negate your 131 false petition that you served? You're not making sense. So just put your big boy pants on and do what's good for this city and act like mature people. It's petty. Also, you asked me, are you the member of the organization? Yes, I am. It doesn't operate anymore. Mr. Franklin was a founding member of it. He served on the board of directors with me. So get all of your information, you see? But I don't know what your plan is. I'm simply trying to help you. You're a new kid on the block. You don't know anything about Inglewood. And if you're trying to micromanage Inglewood, I can tell you we in for a big slide. So leave it on the staff and cut it out. Now, in the budget hearings, we got to have budget hearings. We got to have it. This is the 4th quarter. You got to have the 3rd quarter report. And any department that spent more than 75% of their budget or whatever their budget was, any department, then you're in trouble. That's simple math. And as far as balancing the budget, there's no such, stop saying that. You're not making sense. You have sequestration, you have debits. What they're doing now is any monies that's spent has to come out of entitlements or whatever, but it's not going to add to the deficit. The same thing happens in Inglewood. We don't want to leave all of this debt for our young people that's coming along. And please have the financial officer explain to you guys the finances. He will do it. And all of this going back, looking at code enforcement, we've been through that 10 times. I agree with our councilman, Mr. Franklin. I know he's going to be surprised. But I agree with him on that. Stop going back, hashing the same thing over and over. You have the red flags. You're giving millions of dollars away. The red flag is the red light. And that's going to expire. Don't renew that. You can hire all of the code enforcement back with the money you gave away. What you have here, you have bad decisions that's made. There's no money missing and all this. This one stole this and that. That's typical Inglewood, that's poppycock. Bad mismanagement decisions were made.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, and staff. I just would like a little clarity on some things I've heard on the Police Oversight Committee. Basically saying that Wayne Spencer is chairing the Oversight Committee, and I would like to know why. Well, we all know that Wayne Spencer paid a fine. He's not for bad management of money, and it was a felony, okay? He didn't lose his job, he didn't lose anything, but it reflects upon the committee and our own police department as to why he is chairing the Oversight Committee. It also says that blacks or the city of Inglewood is very irresponsible and does not care about the citizens' rights under our police department. And it reflects badly upon the police department and well as the city. I would just like to have a clarity as to, is this rumor that I've heard true or not? Thank you, and everyone have a great week. And when will we have a meeting at night? That's all. Thank you.
Next week,
Oh, thank you.
every other meeting's at 9. Welcome,
My
Mr. Agee.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. And thank God for this council we got. Councilman Dotson, you have the right to select whomever you please to represent you as commissioners. You know what? I don't think I have to get up here and talk too much anymore because this city's got people that's representing this city. But I do want to say this. I have time people bashing men, especially black men. I want to tell you about something that happened to me at Chili's 2 weeks ago. I went to go home, and this lady with 2 young ladies, about 13 or 14 years old, approached me. Mister, will you buy me some food? We're from Long Beach, and we're hungry. I says, I normally don't support panhandlers. She said, well, we're not panhandlers. So I said, okay, I'm gonna buy you some food. So I took them inside, bought them all the food they wanted. And I went back and sat in my car. The lady went back inside and tried to get the money. And I had told the manager not to give her the money. She came back outside, knocked on my window, and said, Mister, you know, you look just like a child molester. And I said that to say this to the men. You need to be careful. You know, I just couldn't believe it, you know, and girls about 13, 14 years old, you try to do a good thing and, you know, and something like this happened. She could have called the police on me and they'd have put me in jail. That's the system we have today. And that's not a good system, I tell you. I know, I hope no innocent men that are in prison because of this woman. I just want the people, you know, out there to really watch out for that. You gotta help some people, but you really have to be careful. Thank you very much. And I appreciate this council we got. Thank you. See the smile on my face?
Welcome, Ms. Slide.
Thank you, Mayor. I hope you're not coloring all women by the incident that you had. And also, I'm back at DR2. And I do hope that staff examines this proposal very carefully, because if it passes, I'm afraid it might come back and bite us in the posterior. So think more advanced about our children, just like the 12, 13-year-olds that propositioned Mr. Agee. Probably are children who aren't getting their education. Probably are children who have nowhere to go in the evenings when they should be either at home, they don't have the parental care because their parents are out trying to make a living, and their government has let their schools go to Hades and back. So, I mean, think about our kids. They are our future. And if we're going to have them running around picking up trash, they're not being educated, and that's not using their brains for the in the most valuable way. This is our future, guys. This is our future. So we better put our thinking caps on and find out what we can do for our youth. Maybe a YMCA. I'm speaking for Mr. Fisher now since he can't be here. We need a why, or we need something to rein in these children because they're running wild, and our media is no help. And the advanced technology has just about taken the authority away from parents. So maybe our government can do something. Think about it, and I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Lott. Close public comment. Any council comment? Councilman Franklin?
You know I have to say something.
Yes, I do.
You know, first of all, I want to dispense these innuendos that keep coming before this body that there's members on this council that's looking to run for mayor. There's only one mayor, and that's Mayor James T. Butts, and all members, there's 4 of us here, are rallying in support of him and moving it forward. So just dispense this stuff right now. James T. Butts is our mayor, and we'll look forward for him to get reelected in November of 2014. Now, Mayor, I do want to acknowledge, and my colleagues, that on behalf of the city, I did go to the Independent Cities Association for the, in San Diego from July 11th to the 14th, and it was entitled Cities Working for Cities Program. And I want to highlight just some of the items and then acknowledge that some of the information I'll be disseminating to the chief of police and to the city manager to give it to the appropriate staffs. But some of our sessions we dealt with had to deal with unfunded stormwater mandates. Can your city meet the needs? I moderated a section called Transportation and Creative Funding. Then there was the media training for elected officials and public personnel from TV to Twitter. Then the highlighted one, which was very heated, and a lot of discussion took place, had to deal with the evolution of AB 109 realignment and reentry in our cities and the impacts on mental health issues and costs. And then the last one I'll share with you is that they made available for anyone that wanted to go for the 2-hour session of AB 1234, the ethics training, in which I completed. And so I was very appreciative of being able to go to that event, and I want to thank the city for allowing me to attend and also disseminate this information that I received. And then also, as we said up front, that this council will be operating as a whole. And yes, just like a marriage, there are times that there will be some disagreements. But the main thing is that we stay unified front for the betterment of this city. And on that note, thank you, and everyone have a nice day. Thank you, Mayor.
I would just like to say to the public, I appreciate you coming out, whether you agree with me or not. That's democracy. But I want you to know that I'm here, and I'm sure the rest of the council is here, to do the very best we can with the knowledge that we have, make better decisions and good decisions for the city. And that's what we'll do. I will make no decisions if I don't have the information I need. But we have a wonderful staff, people that work very hard for us, that give us our information. If you have information that we don't have and you give us here, we go back and check it. So don't think that you're sitting up here talking to us and we're not listening. We're listening. So once again, I thank you all for coming out. I appreciate you coming, because when you spend your time with us, you help us do a better job for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Padilla.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank everybody for coming out last Tuesday night, supporting Councilman Dotson and I as we were sworn in. Thank you so very much for your support. I want to thank city staff for supporting us and making sure that we get our packets in a timely manner, and all the information that's in there and how articulate it is, and all the homework that staff does to make sure that we as a council are informed. So I thank you for that. As it relates to DR3, the eye cleaning that was brought in front of us, I want to thank staff for putting that together. I think it's important for our young men and women to give back to our community and to help us out. And they're not going to be out there, our children are not going to be out there by themselves. They'll be supervised. So I want to thank city staff for allowing our children an opportunity to give back to our community, and hopes that they will continue to do that as they get older. As it relates to appointments on boards and commissions, a gentleman mentioned about an appointment and wondering why that person was still on that commission. Suffice it to say that when a new council person comes into office, the prior council and board members, at the expiration of that person's term, are null and void. We get to select our own commissioners and our own board members. And so I plan on announcing mine next Tuesday evening at the council meeting, as did Council Member Dotson did today. So with that, thank you so very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I wanted to acknowledge Councilman Franklin. He is now the immediate past chair of the South Bay Council of Governments. He's president this last year, and during that time he did a number of things to represent us on transportation, environmental, and other issues, and I wanted to acknowledge that. He's been quite a leader in the South Bay, and we appreciate it. I wanted to talk briefly. I want to thank Councilman Dotson for being so expeditious in making his council appointments. It shows a commitment to moving government forward in an expedient and decisive fashion, and I compliment you for that, and I compliment Councilman Padilla, who will announce his next week. I want to talk a little bit about comments. You know, when I talk about naysayers, I'm talking about people that complain just to complain. And in fact, you know, what was so frustrating, we had two members of the council that actually would deliberately attempt to mislead the public about certain situations in the context. And so now we're down to just, you know, the certain few that, for whatever reason, they just want to be unhappy. When someone talks about sequestration in the federal government and deficit spending, that is confusing because cities can't operate that way. First of all, we don't have sequestration here. It may impact some federally funded programs we have, but we factor that in before we make our budgets. We can't deficit spend on the municipal level. You're required by law to have a balanced budget. So when someone says that you're misleading the public, they're wrong, and that's misleading the public. When I mention that someone takes delight in transmitting information that now is dated and stale and is very pious and whatnot, I'm sorry, that's not helpful for the city. The city is not, we reauthorize that money, and a simple question would let you know that information that you're putting out on television to people that would invest in the community, developers that want to come here, that makes us look bad. So if you don't know what you're talking about, no, I could understand you'd be mad and someone pointed it out, but we got to start doing that because we owe this city to put out the proper information about our community, about how we handle business. That's for the people. So I'm sorry if someone was offended because it was pointed out, but that was the truth. It was mentioned about the bonds for schools. You know, anytime a bond is attached to property taxes, the citizens vote for it. The council cannot bond you or bond your property. The bonds for the senior center, those were bonds that were let out of the redevelopment agency a long time ago, and the state will be on the hook to pay those bonds back. So we have to put out the right information so people understand exactly how things fit together. I mean to offend no one, but we're adults, and it's time to treat our community responsibly and put out the proper information. And finally, there was civil unrest in the city of Los Angeles after the verdict in the Zimmerman trial. And there were 14 people arrested in Los Angeles. There was property damage. A Walmart was looted. But we had a demonstration here in Inglewood. It was peaceful. It was respectful. And in the memory of Trayvon Martin, I want to compliment our residents and the people that were involved in a peaceful protest for what they felt was an unjust verdict. And we're going to close our meeting tonight in the name of Trayvon Martin. Thank you. Oh, and if anyone needs their parking validated, please see Mr. Falco.